What up, YouTube? This is yours truly, ATUM-RE, coming at you guys with another video. Before we go in, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. This video is going to be the top 5 guns that I would probably, and I use the word probably very loosely, never own. And before you guys jump on me in the comments, I'm not going in on any of your guns. I know some of you guys may even own some of the guns on this list, but there is a reason why I would not own these guns, and I'm just going to get right into it. Number 1, Barrett 50 BMG. 50 BMG. The big reason obviously is going to be the price. It's very expensive, but I want to go over some of the other reasons that this application would not work for me. The ammo is super expensive. Very, very expensive. I don't really have anywhere to shoot it. It's not like I got 100 acres of land and, I don't have, yards and yards to shoot that. So I would probably never shoot it. It's very big and robust. It would probably require me to get another safe just for that gun specifically. It just doesn't fit for me. Again, it's very expensive, and for me to spend, 5 figures on a gun, it better be something that I can shoot on the daily or all the time. And I just don't have the space for a 50 BMG to justify me spending that kind of money on it. But guess what? I will shoot yours. I will shoot yours. All right, next on the list, and I got them kind of written down here. I would say Smith & Wesson 500. I love revolvers. I know a lot of people own them, but the Smith & Wesson 500, especially the shorter barrel, I know like people love those halos, but the recoil is insane. It's no fun shooting it. I've shot it, and when I rented one at the range, and it was just no fun. Once you shoot it, it's a lot of recoil. It's all still gun, so your trigger finger is basically rubbing up against that steel, or your support hand finger. When you have your support hand finger under there, the recoil just knocks it right under that trigger guard. And when I tell you, it hurts like hell when all that energy comes back into your hand. It's reasonable as far as the price, but the ammo is not reasonable. But my biggest reason, and I love revolvers, the Smith & Wesson 500 is very beautiful, but I just don't see a reason for me buying something that I would not shoot, because that is no joy to shoot. And I am not recoil sensitive, but that is not for the faint of heart. I can shoot shotguns all day, take that recoil, but that recoil coming right back in your hand and, ripping up your knuckles, that's no fun to shoot. Trust me when I tell you. But if you want to get a Smith & Wesson 500, go for it. And guess what? I will shoot yours, but I will not buy one. All right, so next on the list here is going to be Magnum Research Desert Eagle 50 AE specifically. It's expensive, but like I said, any gun that you really want, you'll find a way to get it. So the price, I'll kind of take out of it, but the 50 AE, you're talking about $2,000, about 1,800 on the low end. It's my biggest deal with us, the Desert Eagles, are that they are not reliable. I've seen many videos of stovepipes. I've actually shot one before at the range as well. There's a lot of recoil, but it's just something that I don't like. I don't like the way it feels. It looks cool. It's iconic. You see it in videos, movies, video games, etc. But it is definitely not something on my list. And 58 ammo is not very easy to find, and it's very, very expensive. I just don't see it as something practical. But if you're a collector and you want to get yourself a Desert Eagle, knock yourself out. There's nothing wrong with a Desert Eagle. It's just something that I would probably not buy. But guess what? I will shoot yours. All right, next up here, I have High Point Yeet cannon. Price is not an issue, either. But my issue with the Yeet cannon is that it is not very reliable. It's shown over and over again that it is not very, very reliable. You may have some people that shoot it and have a good experience, but overall, it's not something that I would recommend that you go out there and trust your life with. Also, it is ugly. It's just an ugly duck. I mean, ugly. I'm not a gun snob, but it's just something that does not appeal to me. The High Point Yeet cannon. The carbine, I would probably give it a chance because it does have a track record of being reliable. And being reliable is something that is dear to me, because even the guns that I have as my safe queens, I want to still have them reliably cycle rounds. I don't have anything in this safe that's not reliable. If it's not reliable, it's sold off, period, point blank. All right, last but not least, Sig P320.
The Sig Sauer P320 is one of the most popular handguns in the U.S. There are millions of P320s in circulation. Every branch of the U.S. military uses a version of the gun. In 2018, the Texas Department of Public Safety acquired 4,000 P320s as one of its duty weapons. And the LaGrange Police Department issued P320s to its officers. But as you're about to hear, one LaGrange police officer says his gun has a potentially fatal flaw that almost cost him his life.
We got medics and officers in round.
Can you help me?
801 Hanachek Lane is the entrance to Northside Park in LaGrange, Texas. And on May 9th, 2024, it was the scene of a shooting.
Hang in there, Currington.
LaGrange police officer Kevin Currington was doing his rounds.
So I was working night shift, and when it starts getting dusk, you're going to close our city parks to stop vandalism and whatever.
After Officer Currington locked the gate, he started walking back to his car.
And all of a sudden, I heard an explosion.
Hang in there, buddy, hang in there.
I thought my tire had blown on my car, but then I felt the pain.
Officer Currington was shot in the line of duty.
I didn't see any thought.
And I looked down and saw the blood.
Officer Currington started to faint but was able to key his radio.
I got on the radio to tell them where I was at and to get me EMS, and then after that, I collapsed.
She thought you heard a shot.
Mike Peckall lives nearby and says his wife heard something.
She was in the garden and she flagged me down because she heard a shot.
Mike went to check on Officer Currington and found him in a pool of blood.
It was pretty unnerving, because I could see, the jeans tore, all the blood coming out of his right leg that I said, man.
Mike used his belt as a tourniquet.
Wrapped it around his leg best I could, is all I had to work with. Seconds were hours. Then I got on his radio and started hollering at them for help to please hurry. I just said, officer down, officer down.
Officer Currington nearly died. The prime suspect, his service weapon, a Sig Sauer P320, similar to this one. Here is audio from the first LaGrange police officer on the scene.
Here's the casing. He just told me it went off. I asked him if there was a shooter. He said no, it just went off, and he could barely get that out to me.
They asked me if his gun was holstered or if I put his gun back in, and I said no. Did not touch his gun.
Officer Currington says his gun was locked and holstered on his hip when it fired out of the blue.
And I wasn't even touching it, I was just walking. And that's, when that explosion happened, I'm like, what the heck was that?
A quick Google search shows Officer Currington is not alone. A report from the Trace revealed Sig Sauer P320s wounded more than 80 people who didn't pull the trigger. This is one of the first documented cases in 2016. A Roscommon, Michigan deputy sheriff's fully holstered P320 discharged without a trigger pull as he exited his vehicle.
What the hell? Explain to me how a gun goes off getting out of the car.
But this has happened well over 200 times around the country.
Attorney Jeff Bagnell is trying to get Sig Sauer to issue a warning and recall the P320. His client, Bridge City, Texas detective Brittany Hilton, was shot when her holstered P320 went off in her purse.
It hit her in her pelvis, her pelvic area. It caused severe damage to her, lost an enormous amount of blood. It did leave shrapnel in her pelvis.
But the federal judge sided with Sig Sauer and the claim that something or someone pulled the trigger, which Bagnell says is impossible. Bagnell says the gun was rushed into production.
Oh man, the reason I will not own a Sig P320, and I had to sigh, is because there have been many reports of the firearm discharging without anyone pulling the trigger, inside a safe, trigger guard, covered in a secured holster. I'm trying to say, not safe, but a holster, a secured holster with the trigger guard covered, and they're still going off. Many people got shot. I actually uploaded a video into my community tab. It's not something I'm making up, but there have been many issues with the Sig P320. With reliability issues and guns firing on their own, not being drop safe. And that is just something I cannot tolerate. There's no way anyone could ever convince me to buy a Sig P320. Ever. You can talk till you turn blue. Oh, it was this generation, it was that generation. I will not buy one. I will not rely on my life with anything like that. I don't want something, because I like to carry with one in the chamber. If I'm going to carry a gun, I'm going to carry with one in the chamber, but I don't want to have in the back of my mind that the gun will discharge without me pulling the trigger. And I'm not talking about a gun that has a worn out spring or a gun that has never been cleaned or lubed. I'm talking about brand new firearms discharging without the person that owns the gun pulling the trigger. And that is the reason why I would say no to a Sig P320. But guess what? I might shoot yours. And that is pretty much all I have in this video. I just want to kind of give you a quick video on a few guns that I would probably never own. I use the word probably because anything could happen. Would love to have a 50 BMG, but I don't have the land, the space, the capacity. I have to buy a new safe. I have to buy expensive ammo. So I just don't see the benefit in it for me getting that. As far as the Smith & Wesson 500, like I said, I love revolvers, but the 500, that recoil and the cost of the actual ammo, it is really no benefit in it to me. And the high point is just an ugly duckling. Like I said, I'm not a gun snob. I'm okay with Taurus, the C3. There's no problem with that. But high point Yeet cannon is a no-no. And last but not least, Sig P320. Shame on you. And I can't believe the military, they're still actually using those. They should go back to Beretta, go Glock, go something more reliable, because if I were in the military, I would be like, have a level of concern carrying a Sig, to be honest with you. But I'm not going to talk you guys' heads off. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. We'll catch you in the next video. 2-8 up.